Hello and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name is Mark, and if this is your first time here, welcome, glad you could join me, and if you'd like to learn more about the Cube format and any other Magic the Gathering related stuff, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon as well so you don't miss anything. Today we have the next instalment of Inside the Cube. If you missed the introduction to the series, there will be a card on the screen now and a link in the description below for you. In this episode we're going to be diving into the 8th of our archetypes, which has been requested a fair few times by viewers, and that is the Wildfire Archetype. We will take a look at what the archetype is, how it works, why it's effective, plus the anchor cards for it and how to support it within your cube. Hopefully this will give you a better understanding of the archetype itself in cube construction and even gameplay if you weren't so sure about it. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. The Wildfire Archetype is named after its namesake, which appeared in Urza's saga. This could be seen as a reprint of Burning of Xine, but I'll leave that up to you. The ideal goal here for the archetype is to build up a board position to cast the card and leave the opponent ideally with 0 permanents in play, while you keep a few mana sources and threats on the board to win the game or at least be in a commanding position to see it out. The Wildfire Archetype tends to be a big favourite among cube designers looking to add an additional strategy to red that's not burn or mono red aggro with cheap creatures. This gives red a more control and mid-range option, and a very good one at that. Bear in mind this is weep against other ramp decks as well, plus Reanimator if they can get one of their big fatties out quickly enough that can withstand the wildfire. As mentioned before, you're looking to make the wildfire spell or any of its counterparts as asymmetrical as possible. You have the following options in your arsenal. So we've got Wildfire first, which is the namesake of the archetype, Burning of Xine, which is the original spell which Wildfire became a reprint of, Destructive Forces up next. For the 1 extra mana it gets rid of 1 more land, plus kills off 5 toughness creatures, so should be able to deal with pretty much anything that's on the board. Ember Swallower is the last of the Wildfire kind of cards here, and it allows you to have instant speed land destruction when making it monstrous. It doesn't wipe the board, but you do get a 7/8 to slightly make up for it. Utilising these spells and the following cards will more than help you get on your way to successful deck. The use of mana rocks like Thran Dynamo, the Signets if you support them, and Everflowing Chalice to get ahead and not be affected by the spell is ideal. Next, utilising Ramp by splashing into green for the likes of Rampant Growth, Cultivate as well to get ahead of your opponent makes Wildfire a lot more asymmetrical in your favour. The last thing you'll need to make the deck truly powerful to play, and that's to be able to get this spell off before turn 6, is a 5 toughness threat left on the board or a Planeswalker to keep you in front while your opponent's board is wiped away. Predominantly being in red, you're looking at the likes of Sark and the Dragon Speaker, Chandra Flamecaller or an Inferno Titan. While it's not always possible to have a big threat like this on the board early, an indestructible creature will do the same job. Red is the main colour you'll need here as it's access to all of the land destruction spells you'll need. The other colours, well mainly green, have plenty of options to help support it. For these cards I'll be talking about unpowered powered cubes for the anchor and support cards, as this is the only power levels available to use this archetype. Pauper and Peasant cube players won't be able to utilise this. Like I mentioned a moment ago, the primary colours you'll need for the Wildfire archetype is red, as this is the colour with access to all the spells and creatures you'll need to support it. All 5 colours are able to support this archetype as they have access to a variety of useful spells and creatures, but green will be the main supporting colour due to its ramping capabilities. As for the main anchor cards for this archetype, we have a few cards that do the job well for us here. First up we have Thundermaw Hellkite. This flying 5/5 haste body for 5 that deals 1 damage to each creature with flying when it comes into play and taps them down, allowing you to swing in straight away is fantastic. The fact he is big enough to survive Wildfire is great and is a win condition in the deck, which puts him into this list. Inferno Titan is next up, and this guy does some significant work. Not only is he a 6/6 body that survives any of our Wildfire spells, but he is a game ender. Pinging 3 damage either at a creature or to your opponent's face whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks is great. Plus being able to pay 1 red as many times as you like to pump it up is huge at ending a game very quickly. His Titan counterpart is next for us in the form of Primeval Titan. Not only does this 6/6 trample body push through for the win very quickly and survives Wildfire, but the ramp on top gives you all the help you really need to push yourself ahead. He is a game ender and ramp in one card, which is perfect for what we need. The last of the huge threats is one that you can get out of control very quickly, and that is the Colonian Hydra. One attack will get it out of wildfire range, which means you can happily cast it on your end step after attacking, and you'll have a huge body that your opponent will struggle to deal with. It's the perfect reason for us to splash green. The one and only Planeswalker that's good enough to be an anchor card for this archetype is Chandra, Torch of Defiance, although you'll see a fair few more Chandras in the supporting cards as well. Chandra not only helps us ramp with her plus ability, enabling the following turn to cast Wildfire with ease, but also pings down the opponent, helps us get through our deck, deals damage to any creature that may have survived the wildfire itself if needed to empty the board in front of her, and if the board is empty, the ultimate is definitely within reach. Secura Tribe Elder is next, and it works really well for us as a cheap creature that helps us ramp when sacrificed. During a wildfire, it'll certainly keep us ahead. Next up we have Coalition Relic, and this card is great for us to be able to splash a double red to either put a big threat into play or to cast any of our wildfire cards. Mana Rocks are what we are after, and this is probably the best one for splashing a colour available to us. Last of all, I wanted to put Solemn Simulacrum in here because he is a great benefit to this deck. Not only does he ramp us a little, but draws us a card when he ends up being removed from the damage of Wildfire, the perfect kind for us to give an upside to an already good creature. As for the supporting cards of this archetype, there are plenty to choose from. We have the Namesake and other enablers we mentioned earlier in the forms of Wildfire, Burning of Zine, Destructive Force and Ember Swallower. Next up we have the Mana Rocks, which you can utilise to help us ramp us up to make the spell a lot more asymmetrical, with the likes of the Signets, Worn Power Stone, Thran Dynamo, Everflowing Chalice, Grim and Basalt Monolith, Gilded Lotus and many more. I'm sure you can think of more Mana Rocks to put in here as well. Onto the mana ramp spells, and I'm sure there are more than this, but for the main ones here we have Cultivate, Kadama's Reach, Farseek and Rampant Growth, but again there are so many more. As for the Planeswalkers and finishers we can use here, we have Chandra Nalaar, Chandra Flamecaller and Sarkhan Draga Speaker. Both would leave very short clocks on an empty board. Vorapede, which comes back stronger and perfect body left after Wildfire. Regal Behemoth is next, which allows you to make the most of your mana on top of surviving Wildfire, and you'll be able to keep the monarchy long after the spell has taken place with this on the board. Verdurous Gearhulk works really nicely if you stack the +1/+1 counters on him to help survive the Wildfire, or spreading them to help itself and one other creature gain a huge benefit. Greater Gargadon is another which allows you to sacrifice the lands that will be affected by the wildfire to get an additional benefit. Last of all, we have a card I've been having some joy with within this deck type, and that is Hazoret the Fervent. Definitely worth trying out. As you may have already guessed, this archetype works very well with many others you can support in your cubes. The Lands Matter archetype will benefit greatly from this. Not only does Knight of the Reliquary survive a wildfire, but with the likes of Ramunap Excavator, which we gladly got in Hour of Devastation, and Crucible Worlds on top, really helps us make the most of the sacrificed lands. Titania would be another option. Although she died to Wildfire herself, gaining 4 5/3s isn't a bad trade-off. The Artifacts archetype is up next, and like Wildfire, they want as many Mana Rocks as they can get their hands on to cast the likes of Sundering Titan, or sacrifice those cheap Mana Rocks with Goblin Welder to cheat in the likes of Battle Ball, for example. If you enjoy more land destruction, the Ponza archetype synergizes well with Wildfire, utilising pinpoint land destruction through the likes of Strip Mine, Avalanche Riders and Stone Rain can really put yourself ahead of your opponent. So in summary, this handy table will be a rough guide to what we have already talked about in this video. Feel free to pause the video and use it as a handy reference for how to support the archetype within your cube. There may well be some more cards to help support this archetype, so feel free to add those in the comments section below for the other viewers to see. Land destruction is often a sore topic with cubes, and many players won't support it or go all in with it, but if this is something you like the look of and haven't supported it yet, it's really straightforward to incorporate into your cube and add another dimension to your gameplay, especially in the colour red. Let me know in the comments section below whether you support it in yours. If not, is it down to the land destruction not being hugely enjoyable by other players, or another reason? I'd love to know. In the next episode of Inside the Cube, we're going to be taking a look at an archetype that certainly has some synergy with this in the form of Lands Matter, so definitely stay tuned for that. I would just like to take this moment to thank my Patreons of the channel. I can't thank you enough for the help and support that you're giving me. If you'd like to do the same, head over to patreon.com/lifebegins@20, and there'll be a link in the description below for that as well, where there are plenty of rewards to choose from. With your support, we can really push to make this channel even better. Be sure to check out our sponsor, 5colorcombo.com, for a great range of Magic the Gathering accessories with stunning artwork, plus a great app to draft and create decks on the fly. Use the referral code LifeBegins20 for 5% off. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. With your support, we can really help this channel to grow. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.